If you know me, you know I don't really care for Charizard. Hello, everybody, and welcome. I am Bricker Boom. I figured that since we're coming pretty close to the end of the FireRed Nuzlocke ending, I would go ahead and kind of run through a tier list of the different Nuzlocke encounters. I've learned quite a bit about Nuzlocks since we've started. I've been learning even more through different playthroughs, watching other people, things like that. So I figured a quick little tier list, just something fun and easy to possibly enhance your own Nuzlocks in the future. So let's go ahead and get started. I will provide a little bit of reasoning for each one, obviously, because I know some of these are going to be hot takes. So first up, we have Venusaur. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to say amazing. The main reason being is that Brock's gym, Misty's gym, and Surge's gym are basically a complete joke if you have Venusaur with you. He doesn't get a whole lot of use in the late game until Giovanni comes up, but he also can be poisoned against Koga. He can fight some Alorilai's, Brunos. He can hold his own against Agatha's, and of course the rival Pokemon as well. So he's definitely in a pretty good tier. I would say Charizard. I would say he's good because it's still a Charizard. If you know me, you know I don't really care for Charizard, but the problem is that especially in a Nuzlocke, if you're trying not to go past the level cap, trying to go against Brock, for example, is kind of rough, especially if you end up having to rely on your Charmander. He does get some good fights there towards the middle with like Erica, but overall, there's just not a lot of gyms that he really gets to shine in, personally. Blastoise. Honestly, I'm gonna say same tier. I'm not gonna put these in any specific order just because, I mean, there's not really much of a point in Nuzlocke instance, but Blastoise is, in all honesty, kind of the same place. He's good against the first gym. He's neutral against the second, but then by the third gym, he can be absolutely decimated. Same with the fourth gym. If you want to grind out the coins and go to the casino and get a Ice Beam, I would consider putting him here, but just base moves as is, he's just good. Moving on to Butterfree, I would say I would say he's okay, simply just due to the fact that he gets all of the different powders, which sounds odd now that I say it out loud. But I would say okay, just because he does get the powders. He also gets confusion, and if you get compound eyes as well as the ability, which I want to say is in Gen 3, I'm not 100% sure. But if you get that, it makes it so almost every single move he has isn't gonna miss. Beedrill, I'm sorry. He's fast, he's a good physical attacker, but he's still not that great. Let's see. So Pidgeot, I mean, Pidgeot's fine. I haven't got the chance to use it, but it does have good speed. It has access to Sand Attack, Fly. It's got a wide move pool, which I think definitely does help. Raticate, it just, by the time you get to about Gym 3 to 4, even with an appropriate level Raticate, it does start falling behind the rest of them. So that's why I'm going to say it's in the bad tier. Fievel, you are missed. I have to do this. Fearow, or as mine is called, Willem de Fearow. I would still say okay. It does get a decent variety of moves. It's still a flyer, but overall, it's just okay. It's still just a burb. Arbok, I'm going to put in the good tier, mostly because one of the abilities it gets is Intimidate. Intimidate is literally the best move that you can get in the game. Lowers the opponent's attack, makes him a lot more formidable, or her. But that's why I'm going to go ahead and put him there. Glare is also a pretty cool move. It paralyzes. I don't think the accuracy is that great, but again, Intimidate more than makes up for any shortcomings that he may Raichu. Not gonna write you a love song. I would say also good tier, mostly just due to the fact that there are not very many electric types in the game. I'm honestly, I can't even 100% remember where you can get a Pikachu in this game. It might be Viridian. I think it's actually Viridian Forest. The only reason that it's in the good tier is because it is good against Misty. It's neutral against Lieutenant Surge. It can F up Lorelei. And then against Lance and the rival, there are a few Pokemon it can take as well. Sandslash, as much as I love you, you're kind of in the okay tier. You have a decent set of ground moves, but again, you're found. It's found right outside Cerulean City, which is just kind of unfortunate placement because then it's not good in the second gym. It's not good in the fourth gym. You can probably use it safely in the rest of them if I'm remembering right, but it's hard because water is the most found type, so anything that's weak to water is usually going to get pretty screwed over, let's be honest. Nidoqueen is good. And as much as I hate to say it because I know that they are supposed to basically be clones of each other, Nidoking is amazing. Nidoking with Thrash, Double Kick, it's got Poison Point. Both of them are very, very strong. It's just that Nidoqueen has a bit more defensive bulk, while Nidoking has the attack. More often than not, the best way to get through a lot of Nuzlocke is to be able to hit first, hit hard, and try to kill them. If a Psychic type comes up, he's probably screwed, but they gotta survive his Thrash first. Clefable, I have never used. I have fought against a couple of them. With the addition of Fairy type, which isn't in this one, Clefable has definitely moved up, but for right now, it's just okay. It is still a normal type. It's definitely meant to be a special wall, but I mean, one strong, really strong physical attack, out. Ninetales, Ninetales is okay, very much the definition of a glass cannon, which is kind of unfortunate. Um, I mean, again, anything water, ground, rock, it's gonna completely decimate Ninetales. A good fire type is not a bad thing to have by any means, but if you're trying to go for fire types, at the end of the day, there's much better options for you. Wigglytuff, same tier. Nothing too special about that. Honestly, I'm gonna put it into bad. Because the reason being is because Sing, its like main thing, has the worst accuracy that I have ever seen. So it's really not worth it, in my opinion. Then we have Golbat. I actually really like Golbat. It's got a decent amount of moves. It's got Confuse Ray, which is always... I know it's obviously a coin flip, but it's better than nothing. What I would also say is that Zubat, kind of terrible. Golbat is surprisingly tanky. Obviously, it's not going to be taking any special moves, and it only gets better with Crobat, but... Golbat is honestly not that bad. Petal Dancing Vileplume is not bad, but you have to get through the bad to get to the good. That's, yeah. Parasect, bad. The lack of speed in the only like saving grace to me that Parasect has, in all honesty, is Spore, a 100% sleep move. But in all honesty, now that you can wake up and attack the same turn, it's kind of useless. But that's I'm sorry, Parasect. Venomoth, I haven't actually used in a long time. So I'm just gonna put it at the bottom of the okay tier. I don't know enough about it. Dugtrio is good. Dugtrio is very fast. The only thing is again, you gotta make sure you hit him fast and you gotta get out of there because Dugtrio, fun fact, at least in Gen 1, had the smallest base stat HP. So one little, gust of wind and it's dead. Dugtrio, though, can hit fast and can hit hard with things like Earthquake, Fissure, Slash. It's got a decent amount of variety. Persian. Persian is the definition of okay. It's got, and it's been a while since I've used one, of course, but it's got a massive move pool. So that's what saves it. The only issue is it doesn't really get stab on anything. So you've got that. Golduck, I'm gonna say good. It's a solid water type. It's fine. It does get access to some pretty decent moves. I'm gonna put Primeape in the same tier. Granted, mine died as a Mankey. Never got to experience life. But it's a solid fighting type. I mean, there's really not much else to say. Fighting type are pretty bulky. They can take a hit usually and dish them out. Arcanine. I'm going to put into amazing tier because, again, fire types are very, very difficult to come by. It's fast, it's tanky, it's powerful. I got nothing but respect for this boy. Poliwrath, okay. I don't enjoy the fighting type that was added to it. I get the reasoning behind it, but I feel like that was kind of a downgrade for it. But it's still a very good type. It's still a strong water move. It's just got more offense than special. Kadabra is great, but Alakazam is amazing. Psychic type were hella broken in the first gen. So if you have a Kadabra or an Alakazam, you should be good. Again, it's just kind of a you gotta hit him first thing. Machoke. I'm gonna give them I'm gonna give them the same type of treatment that I gave the Alakazam line, just because that third form evolution, third form Evos are usually really, really good. I know in a couple I'm gonna contradict exactly what I say, but it's fine. Victory Bell, solid. The Bellsprout line, I mean, they get access to some pretty decent moves. And also, I feel more akin to this, mostly just due to the anime, and I'm okay having that bias, personally. Tentacruel is actually, I'm gonna say borderline amazing. Tentacruel is actually really, really solid. It's very, very bulky. It has a decent wide array of moves. No complaints. Graveler and Golem, I'm sorry. I'm gonna put in okay and good. It does obviously get better because of the stat boost, but the 4-time weakness that it has with grass, water, everything else, it just makes it really, really difficult to use effectively. There's a decent amount of grass type and water type that it's definitely gonna get. Then we've got Rapidash. I would say good. It's a very fast Pokemon. It's kind of bulky. It can learn a decent amount of fire type moves, so I would say Rapidash would belong in the good tier. Slowbro, depending on the nature, natures definitely affect this, but if you get a good nature, Slowbro can just absolutely decimate an entire team. It is so good. It's tanky, it can dish out damage, doesn't matter if it's water, doesn't matter if it's psychic, but if you get a good nature for it, you can have an absolute monster. Magnaminte is good. Again, it's an electric type. You don't even get it till honestly close to the end. I don't have any strong feelings towards one way or the other. It's just good. Farfetch'd, sorry buddy, you're kind of bad. You don't really get that many good moves, and your base stat total kind of sucks. Dodrio, I'm gonna say is okay. The tri-attack thing is pretty cool, but that's really all it gets. Ooh, Gong 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 is okay at best. It... I'm sorry. Muck, not bad. Very bulky, can take some hits. Poison type, I mean, obviously it has a plethora of weaknesses, but that's fine. Then we get to Cloister. I know that I said I wouldn't do this, but I'm going to put it at the top of the okay tier because its base stat defense is incredible, but everything, like, if it gets hit by a special move, it's gone. Haunter is good. Gengar is even better. With access to moves like Hypnosis, Dream Eater, Shadow Ball, things like that, Haunter and Gengar can wreck. Onyx, bad. Steelix was a great addition to it, but the Onyx line alone is kind of awful. Hypno, solid. It's a pretty bulky psychic type, so it's always good to have. Kingler, I would say also pretty good. It's got access to things like Crab Hammer, so it can hit really hard. It's also got access to Guillotine, which is just a fun move. Now that we're getting close to the list, I am going to go ahead and address the elephant in the room, because I'm sure a lot of you are wondering about this. We're going to skip ahead just because banned, 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 banned. Here's the thing. Legendaries are great. They are there for a reason, but for your Nuzlocking experience, I would not recommend them. Not because they're bad by any means. It's actually quite the opposite. I think they make it a little bit too easy. Now, granted, Nuzlocke rules are entirely made up. If you want to play with legendaries, by all means, go ahead. Do what's going to make the most fun for you and what you want to make as content, or just what you think is going to be fun. For me personally, though, that's why I put them in the ban tier. So we'll go ahead, I wanted to get that out of the way, and then we'll just basically keep moving with the next set of Pokemon. But some people do hardcore Nuzlocks where they don't have healing potions or anything like that. But if you're playing, like, you can actually get a pretty decent setup for Chansey just because the amount of HP and defense. Tangela, unfortunately, is pretty bad. It's just kind of lackluster. Now that it has Tangrowth, like, it's loads better, but it's still, like, just... I'm sorry, Spaghetti Monster. Kangaskhan, I'm gonna say is good. It's a hard hitter. It can learn some really good moves, and it's got a really nice attack stat, and it did murder Hatsy, so, you know, it's got some benefits there. Seadra, I'm gonna say okay, just because I know that with Kingdra, it becomes 10 times better. It's got Smokescreen, it becomes that partial dragon type, everything else. Seeking is honestly just pretty bad. Sorry. Starmie is amazing. It's got a wide move variety. It's got speed, defense, attack. Like, everything about Starmie is just mwah, chef's kiss. Mr. Mime, good, kind of creepy, but I mean, in all honesty, you can't go wrong with a psychic type. Yeah. Scyther, and yes, I am pronouncing these wrong, just to upset some people. Tell me how I'm wrong in the comments below. Comments are great for the YouTube algorithm. Scyther is good. You can actually do a pretty good Sword Stance sweep with this boy, and especially once he gets to Scizor, he's just solid. Jinx used to be really good, but now is just kind of okay. If you're playing Gen 1, Jinx is a lot better, but a lot of Pokemon were busted in Gen 1, if we're being honest. Electabuzz, again, can't go wrong with a solid electric type, and I'm gonna say same with Magmar, solid fire type, but those two, I mean, you just get them so late in the game is the only issue. Pinzer, again, I'm gonna say kind of same tier. I know we're putting a lot into the good tier, but Pinzer, at the end of the day, is still just a bug type. It's solid. It can take a hit, but I know that it is the Leaf Green exclusive. I would rather have Scyther, personally. Tauros is really good. Borderline amazing. Mostly just due to the fact that that attack stat is stacked AF. It's really solid. And again, the moveset, it's quick. There are a lot of really good things about it. Gyarados, amazing. The fact that it gets Intimidate. Now, I will say that grinding up a Magikarp is pretty terrible, but the fact that you get a Gyarados out of it, you get a guaranteed Intimidate Pokemon, I mean, what's not to love, personally? Lapras, pretty tanky. I would say I will put it towards the top of the list. It's very close to being amazing, but the lack of speed is definitely something that you can't really make up for. Ditto, bottom of the tier. Just, yes, it can become any Pokemon, but you only get 5 PP of each move, and honestly, that's kind of difficult to deal with, so... we'll rate these kind of one by one because you can technically choose. But I will say all of them, in my opinion, do belong in the good tier. Just simply because you get an Eevee in Celadon City. None of these are a bad pick. But by that time, you should have by the time you get to the 4th gym especially, you should have an idea of what you want to evolve an Eevee into to be able to provide coverage for the party. We ended up boxing one because we had other options that I'm like, I don't really want to commit to anything yet. Thankfully, that team did end up surviving. Knock on wood, we've made it to the Elite Four. Hopefully we don't die going forward. We'll see what happens. Porygon, kind of bad. It's got some decent moves, but not terrible for both Onix and Kabuto. I would sooner, or Kabutops, and Omastar, not Onix. I would sooner use Kabutops personally, just because I like the sickle hands, but the rock water typing is actually pretty solid. It goes a long way, cuts down on weaknesses. Grass will absolutely decimate you, but overall, pretty solid. Aerodactyl is an absolute machine. I haven't picked mine up. It's kind of one of those things that because you can get it from as a static encounter, like if you can get it, take it. I mean, let's be honest. It's good to have. Snorlax, same thing, amazing. The HP pool is incredible. It hits like a friggin' truck. I've got nothing but kind things to say about the boy. And then finally, Dragonite. Also amazing. It's a pseudo-legendary. It hits really hard. It's got great defense. Its only weakness is ice until the fairy type gets introed. So it's pretty solid. And I mean, the champion has, I think, a level 60 one. So yeah, I'll probably, as I go through the different generations of playing the Pokemon games and gaining more knowledge, I'll probably do tier lists as we move along. But I just kind of wanted to release this one, just because I can. But that's kind of an overview. If there are any other tier lists or any ideas that you would like, make sure to let me know in the comments below. I'm always looking for new content. At the end of the day, even though I do have a job currently, at the end of the day, this is still my main goal. So you guys telling me, you guys commenting, doing what you do is going to help me more than you can imagine. So if you liked the video, if you didn't like the video, hit the like and subscribe button. We are ever closer to 100. We might even be there by the time the video releases. Who knows? But until next time, everybody, peace out. It's incredible. It hits like a friggin' truck.